What if I told you that Borderlands didn't just create its own genre, but transformed the entire gaming industry? From the DLC you love to the loot systems you obsess over, Borderlands made your favorite game better. Yeah, it even made that game better. But before we dive in, if you're into video game content and industry deep dives, consider hitting the subscribe button. We're a new channel here, and your support helps us create more content just like this. I'm the Possessed Soul Toaster. You can call me Toast. Let's get it started. First up, DLC, or downloadable content. DLCs used to feel like getting robbed by your best friend. A new mission or two and a shiny hat was all you got for your hard-earned money. On the other hand, Borderlands DLCs are arguably better and more important than the main game. Take the Secret Army of General Knox, one of the DLCs from the first game. It didn't just sprinkle in a few extra missions, it delivered a whole new area. Hilarious new characters and bosses that made you feel underleveled in the best way possible. Claptrap himself would be proud. The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine DLC and Destiny 2's massive content drops were like, wait, people actually want value for their money? They realized players were hungry for more, meaty expansions, like dragon-sized meat, not some sad little crystal burger. Borderlands proved that if you're going to ask players to pay for a DLC, you better serve up something good. Next up, Borderlands took the idea of loot and made it a core part of the digital experience. Before Borderlands, loot in shooters was, well, about as exciting as finding a stale sandwich in a dungeon chest. Millions of guns, people. Millions. From sniper rifles that lit enemies on fire to rocket launchers that made you laugh so hard you forgot you were being shot at. Borderlands made sure each loot drop felt like a mini Christmas morning. Once again, games like Destiny and The Division went to school on this one. Bungie straight up admitted they took notes, and suddenly looter shooters became a way of life. If your game didn't have a loot system that made your players drool, well, you were about as relevant as a floppy disk. Which is this. This is a floppy disk. Borderlands turned looting from a side quest into a main event, and we've all been hopelessly grinding for the perfect role ever since. Now, let's talk humor. Borderlands didn't just try to be funny, it went full chaos mode and owned it completely. I mean, you've got Claptrap, a robot who's basically a sentient meme. And Handsome Jack, the villain so charming you'd almost invite him to brunch if he wasn't a complete psychopath. Borderlands' writing dared to break every gaming trope and then roast them over a fire. Characters made fun of the fetch quests, missions got all meta, and the jokes were sharper than a level 50 blade. Games like Sunset Overdrive said, hey, we can be funny too, and even Far Cry started adding some absurd and self-aware humor. Borderlands showed developers that comedy works in games as long as you fully commit to the bit, and let's be honest, who hasn't laughed at Claptrap, even if it's like a little pity chuckle? In a world where everyone was racing toward hyper-realistic graphics, Borderlands pulled a plot twist. Cel-shaded style art with thick black lines? In this economy, is a bold move, but it paid off big time. Its comic book inspired visuals made the game instantly iconic. Meanwhile, other games aged like milk, stuck in this realism loop that made their games look outdated 5 years later. I mean, look at Fortnite. Sure, it's a battle royale, but its bold, colorful style took a page right out of Borderlands' book. Even Telltale's The Walking Dead said, yeah, realism is overrated, let's get artsy. Borderlands proved that standing out is better than blending in. And finally, let's talk about the real stars of Borderlands, the guns. It's like Gearbox's motto was, why have one boring assault rifle when you can have a billion ridiculous ones? We've got guns that explode on reload, shotguns that double as flamethrowers, and sniper rifles that make you question reality. It turned every loot drop into a potential game changer. Cyberpunk 2077 took note, designing guns that felt distinct and customizable. Meanwhile, games like Borderlands 3 kept dialing the insanity up to 11. Borderlands made gun variety a personality trait, and we are all still here for it. Admit it, you've probably spent more time in the loot menu than you'd like to talk about. So, the next time you're enjoying a game with a fantastic DLC, ridiculous loot, or an art style that pops, remember to thank Borderlands. It changed gaming forever, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Borderlands didn't influence your favorite game at all. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to join our growing community. We've got plenty more gaming content on the way, and we love to have you along for the ride.